Hey, what's going on there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon. It is the Earthmaster back here on this finally Monday. Just kidding. March 13th, 2023. Goodness, almost halfway through March already. It is about 12:45 p.m. here in California, where we got another significant winter storm coming in here to the area. Latest earthquake activity shows some movement into the Turkey area. Also, looks like the Mediterranean region as well, with a 2.7 coming in as we speak. All right, I'm going to start off here real quick with earthquake activity up into the Yellowstone region. They've been having quite an earthquake swarm up there this morning and overnight. 52 earthquakes being reported here by the USGS, but this is only a fraction of the numbers. The largest magnitude so far appears to be a 2.7, roughly down there 11 kilometers below the surface. Now this is kicking up here outside of the, right on the border it looks like, just southeast of West Yellowstone. Most of our swarming, notable swarming here over the past few months and years have been confined here to the northwest corner of the park. But this one here is a little bit further to the west. Not 100% certain which fault it is on, but it sits outside of the caldera, kind of close to the Hebgen Lake Basin area. And let me show you guys the Yellowstone overview here real quick and give you guys a little perspective of what's going on. Here is the Yellowstone overview. The caldera is in the black line, Yellowstone Lake over here, and of course the state line between Wyoming and the Idaho area sits over here to the west. And that's kind of where this earthquake activity is ramping up. Maple Creek here is picking this up rather nicely. And we started to notice this last night with a few spikes coming in here. And it looks like it continued, but really picked up over the last few hours here with an enormous amount of earthquake activity kicking up. Again, the largest looks to be a 2.7, one of these earthquakes here with a thicker red line, but there's quite a bit of earthquake activity here. I would definitely count more than 52 over the last 24 hours, but again, when there's that many, sometimes it's hard for the the seismologists and whatnot to pinpoint the exact location, depth, and magnitude with 100% certainty when it's completely cluttered like that. But looks like they're trying. Again, 50 earthquakes or so in the last 24 hours. But as noted, this is continuing and ongoing. I do have a Yellowstone station here picking up some of it. This is near Lake Yellowstone. Notice some of the smaller spikes here. I'll see if I can't pick up a localized station here to the vicinity of the epicenters throughout the day today. I'm having some issues accessing some of the worldwide seismograph stations. It looks like some of the networks are down for some of the main ones that I monitor, but I'll keep an eye on that. May have to do a reset on this thing a little bit later on. But for now, little earthquake swarm popping up there at Yellowstone National Park. All right, for the rest of the country here, a little bit of movement outside of the Segundo, Colorado area again, 2.4 it looks like. This area did see some movement over the last week. I'll show you guys the last 7 days of earthquake activity here. Outside, just to the west of Trinidad, they did see that, I thought let me bring this up here, new magnitudes. They had a secondary 4.3 up here. Looks like that may have gotten downgraded. Let me see. Has it been over a week? No, it hasn't. It's a little bit of switcherooing of some magnitudes out there over the last 7 days. There were originally two 4-pointers out here in the 4.4 range. It looks like there's only one 4.3, and now the secondary one, a 3.9. So a little bit of downgrade, maybe some adjustment after review. But this is the area that's seen a little bit of uptick here over last week, and today still seeing some movement with a 2.4 in that area. Oklahoma region fairly quiet, only a handful of small quakes, and out here around the New Madrid seismic zone, a 1.3 coming in late last night near the Tiptonville area. All right, Texas area. Looks like this region most of the activity here from yesterday. We did have one 2.6 early this morning, it looks like, outside of the Pecos, Texas area. Got another earthquake coming in up here to the Yellowstone area. Could be an interesting day there. It's been a while, I'd say, since we've seen a excuse me, a little bit of uptick across the Yellowstone region. Alrighty, I still got this little cold I'm trying to get over, but eventually it'll go away, I hope. Maybe once we get some drier weather. Alright, Northern California here. One earthquake late last night, it looks like, just on the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone here. There we go. Had to mute the mic a second so I could clear my throat. A lot better to mute it than get out here and go, not good. All right. So yeah, southern end of the Cascadia, and I say that because it's about 18 kilometers deep here underneath the surface. Subduction zone sits right here of the Cascadia megathrust area. We have been seeing a little bit of tremor ramping up here across the southern end of the Cascadia over the past couple days, mostly here around Oregon. But again, there is some strain building up here across the southern end of the Cascadia, contributing to some of the activity that we're seeing upstream from the tremor. Nothing major yet, but obvious little bit of movement. Nothing major going on across the Bay Area. Actually, it looks super duper quiet. Long Valley supervolcano. A couple small microquakes there, some from yesterday, a little bit from today as well. Down into the SoCal region, it looks a little bit more active here than regions up north. But a look here at the 2.5 map and above shows hardly anything. So all this activity, microquake, spread out pretty broadly. No major swarms that I can see across the area of the west coast. A little bit further up north here into the Pacific Plate boundary and the North American Plate here. Looks like it is on the North American side. A 4.2 coming in early this morning, 10 kilometers deep. Don't really see too much activity out there, but looks like it may be starting to want to pick up out here along the Pacific Plate and North American Plate regions here along the eastern section. The Alaska area, a little bit of swarm back building here prior to the subduction zone. This is a typical sign of obvious some strain building up here across this area. A lot of deeper movement here recently across the subduction zone. We have seen, let me see if we've seen anything upstream here. We did have that 5.4, but I think this area, might want to watch this region here, specifically along the subduction zone area with this back building. Definitely a sign of some strain. The volcanoes out here across the Tanaga region and the Takawanga volcano area looks as though it's calming down slightly. Consistent though, about 35 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. I don't believe we've seen anything change there as far as their updates go, but I will check that out real quick here and see what's going on from the AVO. Doesn't look like anything was put out here today. This is all yesterday's activity far as the Tanaga and the Takawanga volcano goes, but it looks as though earthquake activity is slowly leveling off there. A little bit of movement out here in our major watch zone. This is the Kuro-Kamchatka Trench. Got a pair of fours, little double tap, so to speak, within minutes of each other. That's a definite sign there of some incredible pressure out there when we see a couple earthquakes back to back like that. Same depth, almost the same magnitude within minutes of each other. Definitely got to watch this area. It's been building up quite a bit of strain here for an extended period. Down here into the Japan Trench, this earthquake from yesterday, a little 4.3. Let's see what we got here around the Philippine Plate. A little bit of movement, looks like, from yesterday and today outside of Manila. 4.5, 35 kilometers deep. A glance here at the EMSC model shows relatively calmer conditions here across the region. Not Not really seeing any major swarm or uptick. Looks like some deeper movement down south into the Banda Sea region with that 4.1. A little scattered activity there. So there is a 4.0 up here just off the coast of Japan. It looks fairly new. Should be right around here, but it's not popping up on the USGS model. That 4.0 coming in. When did that come in? Let me take a look here. It looks like 12:29. So within the last hour, USGS has not picked up on that earthquake yet, but that definitely fills in a little gap here along the northwestern edge of the Pacific Plate. All right, line of activity across the Solomon Islands southward. And of course, we had that little odd earthquake out here into the Chatham Rise area. Well, this is actually a really interesting little feature here because it's kind of an extensional landmass of the South Island, New Zealand area. It does chat about it a lot here in the Cretaceous period, 66 million years ago. This whole area was relatively dry, and again, an extension of the eastern South Island area. There's a little map of it. Kind of cool to think that was once dry land. But either way, it is kind of an odd earthquake away from the main plate boundary. And again, we looked at last night's historical data here in this region, and there's not a whole lot. Just a handful of earthquakes within this area. So we're expecting something to pop up here. Really haven't seen anything too much there across New Zealand. Let's double check that and make sure across the GeoNet servers. See what's going on. I think I'm going to barbecue today. I think that's what I'm missing. I know I kind of barbecue out here in the crazy weather. That's just how I am. I love to barbecue in the rain. Let's see, North Island, New Zealand. Looks like there was another 3.7 an hour ago. Much further. This is still off the coast, though. Probably more towards the Chatham Rise area. It just tells me right there that this area is definitely potentially getting ready to see some larger scale movement when you get these back building quakes. See what else we had here over the last couple hours. 4.0 Kermadec Trench area north. Looking for any odd earthquake activity out here besides the ones we just kind of pointed out. 5.4 Kermadec Trench area 6 hours ago. I guess that's going to be this one, right? 6 hours ago, yep. 5.0, a little bit of a downgrade feature, but pretty shallow earthquake here across the Kermadec Trench area. Let's see here. 6 hours ago. There's that 4.1. Yeah, I'm kind of, aside from that 4-pointer off the coast there. So there, it looks like there may have been, see, the GeoNet servers were saying that's a little bit larger magnitude out there in the Chatham Rise area with a 5.5. That was followed up a little bit later, it looks like, with a 4.0 within that same region. So definitely at least 3 earthquakes being reported out there across the area of the Chatham Rise region. So that could be, again, like I said, that could be definitely an obvious sign here of some larger scale potential activity that's about ready to take place there. It's, again, away from the plate boundary, and we don't really see too much activity out there, but it's kind of kicking up. And with all the activity we've seen around the Cook Strait area over the last month or so, we did see that 5-pointer coming in, 5.7, also 4.6. Now we got the 4.7 out here. A little bit of uptick here, folks, across New Zealand. We'll keep a watchful, mindful eye out there today and over the next couple days, I have a feeling. All right, let's see what else we got. The big island of Hawaii out there, not a whole lot going on. Doesn't look like it's picked up any, even from last night's update. Looks like 8 earthquakes, nothing major going on across the area. Do have an earthquake coming into the Peru area. This one coming in about 103 kilometers deep for a 5.1. Prior to that, some deeper movement here over the last 24 hours up and down the Peru-Chile Trench. That means some strain building up here across the subduction areas upstream. Well, Puerto Rico kind of rocking and rolling today, filling in quite a bit out here. We did have a 4.6 into the Dominican Republic area early this morning, it looks like. Some scattered activity up here around the Puerto Rico Trench as well. Putting the squeeze here on the Puerto Rico mainland to the south with this swarming. A couple different subduction zones around this area, creating that consistent swarm. This one, what do we got here? 45 kilometers deep for that 2.5. Some shallower earthquake activity up towards the surface as well. Let's see what else we have. Let me double check the EMSC model here. Make sure we're not missing out on anything. 3.1 coming into the Indonesia area right now. Turkey activity continuing. That's going to be an ongoing thing, folks. I don't see any major changes. 4.9 down into the South Sandwich Trench area late last night. That's been fairly active here over the last couple days, specifically within one zone. But then again, this is where that 8.1 struck back in 2021. Continue to keep an eye on that. But Yellowstone, goodness, just rocking and rolling, folks. Rocking and rolling. So we'll keep an eye on a couple different areas today. And I will look at Yellowstone coming in. And that's crazy because this is a station that's a distance away from the epicenter activity. I can only imagine what the other ones will look like. But either way, let me give a quick glance here again. It looks like it's very close to the Maple Creek area. A lot of movement coming in there to Yellowstone. So nothing big, but as always, you know, it is a super volcano. I don't think we've seen any major changes as far as GPS elements go. But I will check that out here real quick and see what we got. The site I like to use is this Nevada site that monitors many stations here across the world in terms of GPS movement and displacement. And yes, Yellowstone is covered in that. There is some other GPS stations here that the USGS uses across the area. And it looks like this site has a little bit of a gap in between the area where I want to look at. Need to be well, no, this is probably about the area, right? Let me double check here and see. It's just outside of West Yellowstone. Yeah, right about there to the southeast within this little plateau area. So that would be roughly here. So this is about the closest station. Looking at GPS measurements here, doesn't really it doesn't even go into 2023 here, so I'm not for sure what's going on. But it looks as though got that gradual uptick here in the displacement. That's vertical uptick rising since about 2018. It looks like it continued a little bit there through 2022. But goodness, it'd be nice if I could find a working station out here. There's a University of Utah has quite a bit of let's see if this is it, of GPS stations and monitoring stations as well within that region of Yellowstone. But this is way down here. I'll see if I can't cover this back up a little bit later tonight, folks, with the nightly update. I know I got to add a couple different things on here. But anyway, okay, let's move on and see what we got here for space weather. There was a huge explosion on the far side of the sun, as noted here on the solarham.net site. Looks like an energetic eruption of the sun was observed early this morning. A massive full halo coronal ejection, mass ejection. Looks like it was captured by one of the LASCO C2 spacecraft. It was on the eastern limb of the far side of the sun, so not Earth directed, but there was a little bit of radio blackout and proton events here across the higher latitudes due to that massive explosion, not facing Earth, but on the far side. So that tells us right there that there could be a very active region on the extreme far side of the sun, and we'll watch and wait as this rotates over the next few days here to get maybe a little perspective of what's around there. Right now we don't know, but it's definitely energetic and very active with that full halo CME that was produced early this morning. Current sunspot conditions here are even worse than what they were last night. Pretty much dwindled down to nothing. All sunspots here on the Earth-facing side are stable, magnetically stable, and not expecting any type of flaring from these sunspots. Looks like only a 55% chance for a C flare, M flare at 5% chance. There's our proton event because of the charged particles from that explosion. X flare, 1% highly. Yeah, that's definitely not going to happen. Less than 1%. And again, we'll just wait, see how this evolves and rotates around the view, into view. All right, quick glance here at the weather out here along the west coast. Got a pretty active pattern coming in. Looking at quite a bit of rainfall coming in tonight and tomorrow with our next low pressure system in here, bringing in some substantial rainfall accumulated rates here across Northern California and Southern California. So Los Angeles area down south to San Diego going to get in on quite a bit of rainfall as well. Much needed snow at the very higher elevations here, but this is a warm system, so notice that rain falling on top of snow. A lot of snow melt and flooding concerns that will be taking place here over the next couple days. And behind that, a couple days break before another system comes in right around the 20th time frame. And another one. And potentially another one. And another one after that. So we'll see how this long-range model holds up. But definitely over the next week or so, we got a series of some decent-sized systems coming in, bringing in some warmer air. It's 61 degrees right now, and I think it only got down to 54 last night, which is rather warm for us. So a lot of warmer air coming in, more rainfall, obviously some snow right at the higher elevations, but there's still a lot of snow at the lower elevation that's probably going to melt and create some flooding. All right, folks, I think that is about it. I'm going to bounce off here. Got a few things I got to do today. Set up for a barbecue, I think. That's in store. I haven't barbecued in a while, and there's a good storm coming in, and guess what? That's what's on the menu. I don't know what I'm going to cook yet, but I'll probably give a little indicator later tonight. All right, folks, have a good one. Stay safe, stay dry. Very active out here, goodness. Yeah, and this is the last 24 hours of earthquake activity. This is some broad, wide-scale movement taking place around the globe here recently. All right, folks, we'll continue to watch it, monitor it, and of course report back here on any significant changes or situations that may take place out here. We'll definitely report. And I'm going to give a glance here at these seismographs and find out what's going on, because Yellowstone's swarming, and that's a good station to keep an eye on, but some of these other stations lacking data right now, and I need to get them up and running. I just don't know what's going on, so I may do a reset here of the live seismographs, and so if you see it go down, just know that that's what I'm doing here in the background, kind of getting these data systems to hopefully pop back up. All right, folks, have yourself a good day. We'll catch you guys back here later tonight. Take care.